So this video is going to cover reviewing solving equations. So we can solve an equation by using the opposite operation to isolate the variable. So this first part is opposite operation to isolate the variable in the equation. So we're going to simplify both sides, maybe including some distributing. We're going to use the inverse operation, which is the opposite there, to isolate that variable and get the variable alone. So we undo addition or subtraction before we undo multiplication or division. We kind of work backwards with our PEMDAS or BEDMAS, as we talked about in the previous lesson. So in this case, we're going to look for addition and subtraction, which we see here at the -5. We're isolating the x. That's our goal. So if we want to get the x alone, we need to first get rid of the -5, and we do that by adding 5. And whatever we do to one side, if that's our equal sign, we have to do to the other side of the equal sign. And so now we have 1/2 x equals 15. Go ahead and make that a different color. And next, we want to get rid of the fraction. Now, we don't divide by fractions. We multiply by what's called their reciprocals. So the reciprocal of 1/2 is flipping it, is going to be 2/1 or 2. So we're going to multiply this side by 2 and multiply this side times 2. And what that does is that gives us 2 times 1/2 gives us 1, or just x. And then over here, 15 times 2, that gives us 30. Now, you can check your answer by substituting the 30 back in and seeing if it works. So half of 30 is 15. 15 minus 5 is 10. Yes. On this next one, I like to get rid of the smaller variable. So in this case, that's the -12. You could also get rid of the 64 or the 3 or the 5. You really could do anything. But we're going to do collect the variable on the, let's go ahead and get it on the right side by adding 12w. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of it over here. And I'm left with 64. And then that's going to equal 5w plus 12w is 17w plus 3. I think I changed my color there. And then we're going to simplify, which we just did. We're going to collect the constants on the left side by subtracting 3. That gives me 61. And then we're going to divide each side by 17 to isolate the w. Now this is not pretty, so we're going to go ahead and just leave it as 61/17, or you could do decimal because it doesn't specify. Okay, what happens when we distribute a fraction? So 2/5 times 10 and 2/5 times 15. Well, 2/5 times 10 is going to equal 20/5. Because it's basically putting the 10 over the 1 and multiplying across, because that's how we multiply fractions. So we take the 2 times the 10 and divide it by 5, which is going to give us 4. So 4x, and then we take 2/5 times 15, and that's 2 times 15 is 30 over 5, which reduces to 6. So it actually made it much simpler. We do need to distribute the -4. Notice that the 4 is negative, so it's going to distribute the entire -4 to each term behind it here. So that is going to give you, we'll bring down the 18, -4x, and negative times a negative, +12. Next, we want to combine like terms. And in this case, we have an 18. Whoops, it's not liking my stuff there. We have an 18 and a 12 that are on the same side that are alike. So we can go ahead and just add those together since they are on the same side. So that's going to give me 30. I still have a negative 4x. And then over here. So now I'm going to go ahead and move the negative 4x, undo it on this side. So that's going to become plus 4x, plus 4x. So notice that it's not over here anymore, but we have 4 and 4, which is going to make 8x. And then we're going to subtract 6. And then we're going to have 8x equals 24. And then we divide by 8. Moving kind of over here. And then x is equal to 3. On this last one, we're going to isolate the variable f. We're going to try and get f alone. So the goal is to get f, which means we're going to move all of the things away from f. So if f is what we want, we need to first move these outer things, and then we'll eventually get rid of the things right by it. So first, let's do our addition and our subtraction. Let's get rid of that. So we end up right now with k minus 273 is equal to 5/9 times f minus 32. Now how do we undo a fraction? We'll think back up top, we multiply by its reciprocal. So this side is going to get multiplied by 9/5, the reciprocal, and this side is going to get multiplied by 9/5. And then we can go ahead, that's going to cancel that. You don't need to distribute here. Our last step is to get rid of this negative minus 32. We want to add 32. So if we're going to add 32 here, we're going to add 32 here. Now we have f alone. So our final answer, let's write it out here. F is equal to, and I'm going to go ahead and put parentheses around this because we do this first and then we add the 32 was the last step. So I'm just going to make sure there's parentheses to kind of show, and then your plus 32.